Welcome to the Edify Studios podcast, discussing the shift of architectural concepts into actual solutions, disrupting the current status quo, and having a blast the whole time. Here are your hosts, Brad Glauser and Brad Walker.
Hey guys, welcome back to a special GlassBuild edition of the Edify Studios podcast. Today we're talking to Danik DeCaza with Walker Glass. Here in this podcast, he's actually going to be giving some tips and tricks for you as a manufacturer that's preparing for GlassBuild. He gives a really good insight into the marketing aspect of the pre-conference planning, understanding what you're going to see when you get there, and some of those things that actually can make GlassBuild more efficient and have a better ROI for you as a manufacturer, for you as a customer, and for you as a consumer. So please come along, join the ride. Thanks for joining the Edify Studios podcast. Here we go. Hey guys, welcome back to another awesome special episode of Edify Studios podcast. We are sitting here today with Danik DeCaza with Walker Glass Limited. We got Mr. Walker, Brad Walker here. No relation to Walker Glass.
As far as people know.
Oh, as far as people know?
Yeah. Well, that's private. That's privately held.
That's got it.
That information. So
Danik is the marketing operations manager for Walker Glass. Welcome to the show. How are you today, Danik?
I'm doing fantastic, guys. How are you guys?
Excellent.
Doing very well. Good. Thanks so much for joining us today, my man. We're excited to dig into just understanding Walker Glass, looking into GlassBuild, and making sure that we're talking about, just being those ambassadors, of the industry, and really just allowing to press forward and press the envelope and make sure we're communicating to the people out there. So we want to take a little bit of a tour with Mr. Danik DeCaza with Walker Glass. So yeah, man, thanks so much for joining us today. We wanted to dive into Walker and just kind of get a little history on Walker Glass, if you don't mind, to kind of just give everybody an introduction to you as well.
Give us the story.
There's so many stories to tell. First of all, thank you very much for the invitation. We're really happy to participate and support the industry. The glass industry is a tremendous industry where so many great people are gravitating around it, and it's normally an industry where you get in and you don't get out. You start working in the glass industry and you get sucked in and you stay in, it's just like you don't get out, You don't leave the glass industry to go work for Coca-Cola or beer company. No, stick
you're
in.
right. This is what happens to people.
So the question comes to mind, how many years have you served in the glass industry, right?
I've been with Walker actually this week 17 years.
Outstanding.
Yeah, I really started, my career really took an upward swing the minute I walked into Walker. Walker's virtually changed my life, and for the better. I had so many opportunities, my position has changed so many times, and always on the upside, learning, if you are someone looking to learn and being eager to have an open mind, the glass industry will serve you well. So I came in to work for Walker 17 years ago to do mirror mostly. Walker had a mirror division, decorative mirror division. So I was part of that, and then Walker decided to sell that division for incorporating and start doing a new business model, which was the acid etching. At the time, Walker was the only one in North America to do acid etch, and they needed someone to implement sort of the marketing part of it. And I was part of the early stage of the Walker texture adventure, and I served a different role into the development of that Walker texture brand, and today Walker not only I've been making mirror for 75 years but has been making acid etch glass for 15 years and bird-friendly glass for close to 10 years now.
Wow.
So throughout that 17 years, I'm taking a detour here, but through that 17 years, all kinds of opportunities have presented themselves, and I played different role into the marketing department and being able to grow it to the point now that, being responsible for the website and all communication aspect, all the branding. We actually, with the launch of the new website, we gone through a series of thinking really hard as to what our products are doing and all of that. So I was privileged to have this opportunity to serve in that role. So anything that touches, like also design of booth design, launch of new products, and if they need icons, social media and all of that. So this is all the aspects that right now that I'm touching. Also in being involved in new product development and communication and presentation to architects and designers. So it's kind of a long detour to say that I touch many aspects of the marketing role at Walker, and that's it. So it goes from communication, branding, design, and presentation to architects and designers. So that's pretty much what I do.
It's excellent. The Walker actually has such a good reputation as far as making sure that's specialized, or that surgical level of quality, and it's a real pleasure to kind of have you talk about Walker and why you guys have decided to really participate within NGA and participate within GlassBuild and understand how you guys are able to then share that such a resource with the industry. And I'd love to kind of hear your aspects just about understanding how does your technology get translated into that world from a GlassBuild standpoint? What's some of the processes that you as a manufacturer go through to then introduce that next thing, or some of those safety technologies, or something that's going to be an asset for your customer? Talk about some of that stuff that you're able to, I guess, you're looking at this year to then take the GlassBuild. A little sneak peek, if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's great. A really great question. Let's start with the point that trade shows in itself are a costly venture, and it always begged the question: was it worth our money? Was it worth our time, the investment, and all of that? And those questions do not get asked for GlassBuild. It's a given. It's a must-do. We must be there, and there's a slew of reasons why we must be there. We annually host, see our sales rep. We have sales representative throughout the United States and Canada, and it's a really good opportunity for the team to meet up. It's a great opportunity for Walker to meet and educate their client and hear about their client too. Yeah. When contract glazer comes in and say, "Oh, I have this product specified, this such a product. I couldn't find it. Where are you located? This and that." Not every glass fabricator will carry your entire line, and being able to have a dialogue with their clients. Well, sometimes you're able to maneuver for the benefit of the industry. And then furthermore, you've got all your business relationship, with Walker being such a specialized and unique position. Walker is between the glass floaters and a glass fabricator.
You're right.
We had value to flat glass.
Right.
And how many other companies are like Walker? Very few. I won't say we're the only one, but I'd say very few. I think that would be actually right. And so when you add value to the product and we know exactly what we're doing, maybe the architect also understood what he does because he's gone through an AIA presentation from one of our architectural managers. But the glass fabricator may not carry that specific item. But by being at the show, we are able to educate them and talk to them about the different feature of the different product and say, well, a satin light is very high resistant to scratch. So in that particular project, it was a public place, and therefore they needed a higher scratch resistance. Oh, I get it, right? And then you go into minimum and quantity and sizing and all of that. And then you, on the opposite end, for Walker, it's good to hear what the clients have to say about your product, and so then you can make adjustment based. You alluded to technology. You say, okay, this is what we've been doing. Is this the right thing we've been doing? If you don't hear it from your client, you cannot make any adjustment.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of like a hand-on-hand situation. So GlassBuild is in a sense the quite essential of the glass industry, and by being there, you meet with people from the NGA, or you ask about participation on NGA. It was Ghana, NGA, whatever the body is, but we're highly involved. We always send 2 to 4 people to every event. Why? To make sure we're covered, to make sure we understand what's going on, to see if we cannot add value to it. And years ago, I was part of the team that was traveling to these things, and I had an incredible chance to participate into the recyclability of architectural glass products paper, GIB, and you learn things, and it's knowledge is power. The more you know, the more powerful you are as an individual and as an organization, and being able to share your knowledge and learn from others, you just get better at what you're doing.
To break that down a little bit and to kind of understand it from a perspective of what I can see is that you're going through and you actually have a chance to talk to those consumers and spec writers and architects and designers, the people that want to feel educated and want to be educated about it. But it's now Walker's yearly or biannual chance to really actually have that person-to-person interaction. I think that's wildly important from a manufacturing standpoint to capture that moment and that peer-to-peer relationship. I mean, is there a process that you guys go through prior to arriving to GlassBuild to communicate that, hey, Walker is going to be here, we want to be available for this? Is it what are some of those maybe a tip or trick that you could give to those manufacturers that want to do this? You know what I mean? What's your process prior to the show?
Prior to the show, there's different things we do. I know we've already started to do it. But first of all, Walker, we've established about 4 years ago a newsletter. So we have a newsletter that goes out to about 3,000 people. That includes glazing contractor, architects, designer, and glass fabricators, floaters, and all of that. And so we've already posted on our newsletter to say that we will be at GlassBuild, not to miss us at booth 807. Sorry, I just had to plug
No,
it.
I like it. That's great. That's why we're here.
Plug.
Yeah. And then so we use that, and we're also going to use our social media for additional reach. And then we also use the printed media, and then occasions such as this, and then there's product preview with the glass media and all of that. And then furthermore to that, we have our actual sales rep who are calling some of the clients to say, are you going to be there? If you're going to be there, let's make sure, let's book a time. I've got something new to talk to you about it. That you have time for dinner, you have time for lunch, you have time for breakfast, and so on and so on. So there's a lot of work that is done that can be done prior to the show, and rather than wait. The thing we did a couple times for other shows, and I guess we did it for GlassBuild too. So we send postcards, a simple postcard.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
No, it's incredibly simple, but the ROI on something like that is just so personal.
But it's just different enough. You know what I mean? Like it's just different enough. We are in a age where we typically just throw everything away if we get anything via mail. But on a business level, you're still sort of attuned to getting mail. So to have that show up and to have it be different, that is wildly smart and savvy of Walker and you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you. We try to time it also to a new product introduction. We don't necessarily do it that way, but we try to have something new for the show.
Sure.
And if we know we're going to have something new for the show and it's going to come out like in July, August, we kind of wait to make the real announcement in September for GlassBuild.
Got it. Sit on that information a little bit, and then make a little bit more of a grand announcement at GlassBuild.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
You know, you talk about the social media side and reaching out. I think that's really important for that next generation to interact with, and the platforms that they actually communicate on. Edify Studios is a big social media fan. We spend a lot of time there communicating. We'll leave the links here on the video, and also make sure in the description we'll reach out to Walker. But why don't you share where you're actually accessible on social media, and some of the strategies that you actually employ, maybe even during the show. I don't know. I mean, prior or during the show to kind of just interact or intertwine some of that stuff.
Yeah, currently we have two Twitter accounts, one in French, one in English, and one LinkedIn account. Between now and GlassBuild, our Facebook and Instagram account will be open, and we'll start interacting on those platforms as well. We have to understand that I don't know how much the audience knows about. You guys will know what I'll be alluded to.
Absolutely.
Social media platforms, but not everybody is on every platform. So you're reaching different demographic by your different platforms, and you should have a different type of message depending on the platform you'll be using. Like for Instagram is definitely Generation Y and the younger crowd, like 25, 35 years old. Even 35, that's kind of old for Instagram. You know, pretty much everybody is on Facebook, but you know, Facebook has its pros and cons, and then you've got this very more professional LinkedIn, and then that
right.
Twitter that is more targeted to your journalists and event of some sort.
So how does Walker Glass kind of diversify between platforms? Maybe just take LinkedIn, for example, and say, like, what's some of the messaging that you actually put out on LinkedIn?
The message we put on LinkedIn are definitely much more into the professional side of it, you know.
So products, technology type of a thing, or I mean, is that something that we
articles, as I alluded to you
okay.
Earlier? Yes, we do have these monthly. We have a monthly newsletter, and then with the monthly newsletter, we come up with at least one blog post a month.
Excellent.
And so we first launched it on the newsletter, and then after that we picked it up, and then we place it on the different platforms. Depending on the platform, we're going to tweak the actual message. We have a little more room in the LinkedIn, and our LinkedIn is now, you know, there's only like some, I can't remember the number, but it's still fairly modest, but it's growing. It's been growing for the last 6 or 8 months, which is, you know, I'm very happy with that. And then starting this fall, we're going to start to put money behind it to push some of the articles and all of that. But I'd say LinkedIn, for example, is definitely a more professional message. We will announce our presence to GlassBuild on LinkedIn, as we were going to do on Twitter. But the Twitter feed, as you know, it's a much quicker feed.
Yeah, it's a fire hose. Absolutely.
The way we're going to use the Instagram is that we're going to have a much more, the language will be completely different. The approach will be completely different. It's going to be really based on images, short videos, and the language will be a little more, it's not going to be as square, I want to say. It's going to be a little more colloquial, you know, it's going to be a little more communicative, on very, I don't want to say funny, but it's going to be personalized. You know, it's people are
absolutely
from that generation. I think they're gonna get the message. They're gonna get it because obviously LinkedIn and you know Instagram are completely different world. You know, the usage of hashtags, even if the hashtags are part of LinkedIn, they're not necessarily as promptly use as they are on Instagram.
This is great advice. It is really great advice for, I think, from a manufacturing standpoint, to understand that manufacturer just as long tenured as Walker Glass is actually playing on these platforms and communicating on these platforms and transitioning to communicate to that audience. I mean, I think it's no, this is great. I appreciate the feedback there. I mean, and to even jump back in to the GlassBuild side of things, what's that process that you guys go through to choose that technology or choose the code-driven options, or what products or what type of message do you guys want to achieve at GlassBuild? And maybe give us a little bit of that sneak peek of what you guys are doing.
The message is for GlassBuild is always the same. It's an education one about the intricacy of our products. I mean, every shape or form of our products have, as I alluded before, they have features and benefits that will, benefit to the end results, and to be able to communicate that message. But this year is a little different. A big emphasis is put on all of bird-friendly product. We've been, in Premier, we've been in the first companies that did develop products. We did develop a lot of resources and a lot of product development in a bird-friendly area. So, and we are known, we're known as being one of the reference definitely out there. And this year we're coming in with new patterns as we expanded our lines of bird-friendly. But also, this is a grand announcement, is that we will have in our hands by GlassBuild an EPD on our bird-friendly products. So we'll be, believe, the first one or the only one at this point to have a EPD dedicated to bird-friendly products. So the whole aspect of it is, when you talk about technology and all of that, the fact that our product can be used on the first surface, which is preferred for the birds, and it provides them a better chance to see the marker and avoid the glass and all of that. That's really where we're putting a lot of focus on that, and a lot of effort into that whole message. The message just basically is that we have a lot of different solutions out there, good solutions that does work. We are really confident about it. We continue refining our offering, and we're coming in with, I believe, the best offering we've had in years about this market segment that is bird friendly, that is absolutely booming right now.
Yeah, that seems to be a sector that has picked up a lot of steam over the last couple of years. I know California is driving it pretty hard in terms of their code. Seattle, we're now starting to see a tremendous amount of it here, where it's actually written in that is a requirement of the structure or the building or the use. Are you seeing a lot more of that globally as well? And are you seeing it in more of a code versus a suggested we should do this?
Both.
Okay.
Both. We see like in Portland, it's part of code. Mm-hmm. Minnesota is part of code. Chicago is coming up with it. Like here in Canada, there's a municipality, Ottawa, which is a major city here in Canada, that is not obligatory, but kind of like highly recommended. And normally what we've been seeing is that if it was on recommended but not obligatory, it turns out to be a code later on.
Sure. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And where it was a code, the code gets revised and gets tighter, and the visual marker gets tighter. And like, let's say, I really like what San Francisco is doing. It depends on where the building is positioned, if it's near a water source or near a forestation, and 3 of the 4 sides of the building needs to be taken care of. The first 16 feet, other is 18 feet, other is 14 feet. But all the legislations and all that, the legislations what is really driven the market right now, and the legislations are being put in place in different part of North America, and that you're starting to feel also that momentum that has been coming for a while, but now it's really. It's like you'll be listening to a pack of bull riding in your direction from miles away. Now they're not that miles away; they're much closer, and you can hear the rhythm. So it's kind of.
It's interesting. I think you bring up a couple points inside of some of that process and product selection. Obviously, you want to make sure your newest technology is presented at GlassBuild. I mean, This is the peak of our industry as far as the expo that we're available to actually come and participate in. But you mentioned, I think along the way, you mentioned that Walker's actually getting an EPD registration. And I think that's wildly important to understand and so if those people don't know, from EPD or environmental product declarations have started to enter the market to make sure that the transparency is there seen throughout the entire process. And the environmental product declarations, have create a different path than LEED. They create a different path than understanding what's, I guess, what's the responsibility of the product. But I think it leads to the overall carbon footprint of what actually happens for the next generation of what your responsibility as a manufacturer is. And for those manufacturers that have heard about it, I mean, this is something that you kind of stepped over in the conversation, but I think it's really important to mention and to kind of talk about as we look at the 2030 challenge, we look at the 2050 retrofit challenge, and some of those things. I want to make sure that
this is a landmark thing.
This is a landmark item that you kind of you kind of talked about there.
Yeah, and we do have EPDs on, believe it or not, on mirror. And we have it on edge mirror, and we have it on full surface edge glass. So we've had this for almost 2 years now, and now we needed to complete the round. And here's an interesting thing is that it provides the manufacturer a snapshot of. You're familiar with the EPD, it's based on the LCA life cycle analysis.
Correct, yes.
And it provides you with a snapshot and say, oh, this is how we're doing it. Is there a way to improve it? It provides you that opportunity to improve your process, and not only improve it for administrative reasons, but also for environmental reasons. And this is a great opportunity for manufacturers to be able to do that. And if you can achieve both, well, you're definitely winning.
Yes.
Well, I find it also an opportunity for Walker Glass or for any manufacturer at that standpoint to really share its mission, and to give a broader depth rather than saying these are just the binary products that we produce, but understand the responsibility that the manufacturers have for the overall industry, and understanding what life cycle analysis and life cycle assessment can mean to your products, and even sharing that purpose with your customer, that one-on-one experience of asking what the ROI is there. This is the opportunity for that manufacturer to discuss directly with the customer, share that mission, share the products, and provide that. I mean, is that what type of how do I want to say this? It's more of a, I don't know if it's a decision, but it's a direction. Does GlassBuild and the participation of that kind of allow you to look into what that next thing is? Because EPD is fairly new, but we're looking into that next generation of mission and next generation of creating that process. I mean, has GlassBuild assisted you in creating those decisions for you and for Walker?
No, but it helped.
Okay.
Is that the decision of going and doing EPDs had nothing to do with GlassBuild, but where does GlassBuild fit within this? Is that it fits in the structure that you will be able to convey the message to the appropriate people.
Right.
You know about it. That you say,
fair.
Hey, we've got this. We've got your back.
We've got your back. We're Walker Glass.
I like it.
It's because decision makers are going to the show, you don't need an hour conversation. You need 10-15 minutes exchange, and then you go right into the heart of the subject, and you're solving an issue. We're there we're servicing the architectural market through glass fabricator. We're there to solve their pain, and we're there to help them ease that pain. And if we can help them providing LEED credit and providing product that is, environmentally friendly and all of that, that makes them look good. We're looking good because they're looking good.
Right.
It's kind of that sort of relationship. So.
Well said.
That's perfect. I think that there are a lot of people in the world, unfortunately, who don't know Walker, or they don't understand what Walker is or does, or Walker textures and the market. So they're going to go to GlassBuild. Mm-hmm. They're going to go, all right, I heard this guy on the podcast, and you know, you guys have won previous best booth, right? So people are going to hear that. They're going to be like, okay, Walker, don't know him. I heard they had the best booth, you know, a couple years ago.
Last year.
Last year, okay. What's this year? What is this guy who's never heard of you going to come and look at this year that's gonna draw him in?
Light.
Bud Light?
No, okay. No, not yet.
I get it.
Good.
He's gonna come. He or she is gonna come into the booth and see this giant wall. Actually, when we came up with the idea of changing the booth, we wanted to have a focal point, and I didn't. Since I do the setup and the teardown, I did not want to do with the overhead crane and a banner and all of that. So
Smart.
I was trying to find something that was just tall enough so people could see it, was bright enough so people could see it. So I said, and I was big Game of Thrones fan, so I went, why don't we build a wall?
Ooh, I like it.
So we built a wall, a 16 feet wide, 10 feet tall wall, and featuring different projects that were made possible by our clients, and on top of it is the revamp of our logo and our new tagline. And that's why I say light, because the whole thing is lidded. But what you're going to learn about Walker if you come to the show is that how light plays a role with our product, and how our product can, when they're in combination with light, how they come hand to hand. You know, when we did the revamp of the website, we went, okay, what's our why? You know, why are we there? What are we solving in terms of issue and all of that? And then when well, one common point to all of our product is light. Light goes through edge glass easily, over 90%. Then you have when it hits the etching, then the light gets diffused, and so you have no hot spot. When you play with mirrors, the mirror will reflect, and when you have etch mirror, it's going to soften up. And when our visual markers are outside on the first surface and the natural light is there, it's easy for the bird to see it and fly away. So what you're going to learn from Walker is not so much about the product, is how light plays a role in everybody's life, and how these products can, when they are well designed and incorporated correctly, can play a role with the daylighting aspect of it. So I think this is the next big thing is daylighting, and you're gonna learn how, you know, by the right combination of our product, how you can come up on the winning side of it. So awesome. And then there's a little tagline, and if anybody identifies it, and it's now written on the boot, which is recent and which is enlighten your world, and I think that sums well what we're all about now.
So it's a huge winter is coming wall that we're actually going to be doing, right? Are we
straight to the north?
Yeah, actually, the design was done prior to season 7, before the wall got destroyed.
Got it. Okay, so the dragons haven't hit yet, and we're actually got it. All right, so we're still in Winterfell, and we're a little safe. I got it.
Yeah. We're really
with Castle Black right at the north side.
White Walkers are way outside.
White Walkers are way outside. I mean, are you going to be dressed up in a Jon Snow outfit? Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh my God, no!
Sounds like it. Some Valyrian steel.
Yeah, no. A funny story, if we have 30 seconds for it.
Of course we do. Absolutely. I'll just edit it out. Don't worry.
Okay, so a couple of years ago, we came out with the new anti-slip. We just launched anti-slip surfaces.
Yes.
And so we actually used GlassBuild to launch this new line, which is called Traction. And so, as director of marketing, I thought that'd be the funny guy. And so, we redesigned a box with red, blue, and white lights blinking. And so, when the show opened, it was in Atlanta. I'll remember vividly. So the doors open. This platform is blinking of lights and all that. And here I am standing on top of it with a white suit.
Oh.
John Travolta had arrived in the building.
So Saturday Night Fever all over again.
There you go. I mean, Max Pearlstein was all over it and all of that. And it was the funniest thing ever. I mean, we had a lot of fun with it. And
no, I like it. I like the creative aspect of presenting the products, and it's not just about the technology, but about some of that pop culture reference and relatability and understanding of it. So that's
it's
amazing.
all important. All the tech is important. All the technology is important. All of the products and new showcases and this and that are all important. Business and all that. But at the core of it, we're all humans, and we're going to get drawn to things that we think are fun
and are familiar
or exciting or familiar to us. So very smart, very bright. I'm excited to see your booth this year. I'm excited to see you guys at booth, is it 807?
807.
807. I can't thank you enough for taking time, being part of this, helping us do our part and letting people know a little bit more about GlassBuild from the inside, from the belly of the beast, as it were. And I think this is very exciting times for the Bird Friendly, for the EPD, for everything that's going on with Walker Glass. And I personally am terribly excited to get out there and get with you guys this glass show.
Excellent. I will say this: if anybody who's coming in the booth and finds me in our booth, right, and has listened to that podcast, I will buy them a drink if they play rock, paper, scissors.
This is an Easter egg. This is an Easter egg. I like it.
Only if they play rock, paper, scissors with me. Otherwise, I'm not buying the drink.
That's fine, and I'll allow it. Question: do they need to win?
They just need to show up.
They just need to show and play.
Show up and play.
Show up, talk to us, and say they've listened to the podcast and say, great job you guys are doing, and play a game of rock, paper, scissors. That's it. That's all they need.
I love it. Outstanding.
That's a great one. No, and I appreciate the time. I mean, one of the things I'm really looking forward to is seeing the Walker textures and looking at some of that anti-slip technology you guys are constantly developing. I want to play rock, paper, scissors, make sure we actually do that. I love the Easter egg inside the podcast. That's actually a great idea. Well, Danique, I really appreciate you spending the time today. We really appreciate you participating in GlassBuild. NGA has really built a powerful force this year. I think it's a different show that we're going to get exposed to. Where can these individuals that are listening to the podcast reach out to you to maybe do some pre-conference planning, to maybe set up a meeting? To set up a drink, to set up a rock, paper, scissors competition.
I think the best place. I talked about the social media. They can reach out to our social media platform. They can also visit our website, our brand new revisited website, and use the contact form and send it to us, and we'll definitely respond. I'm the one receiving all the emails. All the emails that are sent to the. I see them all, and we make sure that someone within the organization answers them. So it's not a robot that will answer you. It's a human being, and it might be some spelling error.
Yeah, with a little French accent. I like it.
Yeah, maybe.
Just a little bit here and there. That's all good.
No, and you guys, be sure to reach out to walkerglass.com. We'll put the links here in the podcast, in the descriptions below. Please feel free to comment back. Danique is really ready to produce some of that pre-conference planning and meet with you guys.
Yeah.
The networking opportunity, I think, for GlassBuild is a strong opportunity for you. If you have questions about Burr Glass or about some of the different technologies, the EPD we talked about, this is a manufacturer that has kind of gone through that process, and they can actually allow for that technology, that industry sharing, to really hopefully help you to take the next step, and hopefully there's an asset for it.
Yep.
Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate you joining us here on the Edify Studios podcast. Please reach out to Walker Glass, booth 807, rock, paper, scissors. That's actually a great hashtag. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you later.
Thanks for listening to the Edify Studios podcast with hosts Brad Glauser and Brad Walker. To learn more about Edify Studios, visit www.edify-studios.com. That's www.edify-studios.com.